Some of the other stuff that I've seen in multifamily houses are roof spaces. A lot of people wanted to be able to have more outdoor fresh air. I don't know how fresh you could really say in New York City with all the pollution and stuff. But a lot of people wanted to be able to at least go outside so they weren't trapped in their small little apartments in the city. You know, a lot of the gyms, common spaces, pools in the buildings, those were all shut down. Those were not allowed to remain open. And all the residents understood exactly why management in the building had shut them down. But really trying to get out, get to those parks, you know, feel safe on the street, you know, walking around in the city, or, you know, so that's why a lot of rooftop scenarios were brought up. And how do you monitor? How do you, you know, control the number of people up on the roof? Is there a sign-in sheet? Are there, you know, different ways to schedule time so that families could go up and have their kids run around, and, you know, they only got certain blocks of time in order to be up there. So, I mean, it's kind of been interesting to see, you know, how a lot of the multifamily buildings have kind of put this all together. Another thing I saw too that was kind of interesting is that a lot of the tenants, because they were home, they all kind of turned and said, very much like what Tim had said earlier, that the smart home features, where they wanted to have certain things installed in their house so they could have more of that automated type of service. They could see who's calling in. Like, they have intercoms, but they wanted video intercoms so they could really see who was at the door. They wanted to have the Nest. They wanted to be able to control without touching things. They touch their phones, they Lysol their phones, but they wanted to make sure that they still had control. They wanted more the lights and the shades, the automatic shades that would trigger when it was day and night. So this way, I mean, everyone's just, they're home, they're bored, and they wanted to do home improvement projects. So for people in the city in small buildings, that's how they were trying to upgrade their units. They understood that they really couldn't have contractors coming in, you know, with the restrictions, but they started asking a lot of questions and they started inquiring about some of these features. So I know, you know, now that phase one is back open in New York City and contractors can be working, you know, a lot of that stuff is being prepared at this time. And, you know, unit owners, they were asking for it a lot. When it comes to personal, more single family homes, more here in Westchester, again, what I was seeing was, you know, people wanted to be outside and they were doing a lot of garden renovations. They were doing patios, they were doing decks, they were doing anything that they could be to be outside and not be inside. So a lot of people were requesting some, not so much landscaping, but things that did require permits. And no one really wanted people inside their house. You know, if you came to their house to do an inspection or to look at something, it was more from the exterior, not being able to be inside. And again, you know, everyone respected everyone else's wishes and their concerns. So I want to say more in the city, it was bringing up the smart home reality versus kind of what I was seeing in the suburbs. The suburbs, I didn't see too much of the increase of the smart technology, but it was definitely more expanding their exterior spaces. You know, the people in New York City, they only have limited exterior spaces, you know, parks and this and that. But I mean, those were the two things that I saw during the COVID time over these past 3 months.
Kendra mentioned, I think what we're finding too is people want to stay closer to home, in smaller groups and closer to home. So doing different things to make those places more appealing. Arguably, if there's more remote work, there may be some more free time. Some of that may be taken up with childcare or other types of logistics. But so the amenities, like where bicycle, there's time to do some more bicycle riding, working on bicycles. And some of these are good practice or amenities that many developers are putting into their projects now. Pet care, places to take care, clean your pets, art, craft studio, just general meeting rooms, small party rooms, things like that, outdoor spaces. Obviously, a desire for safer environments, you know, nose touch surfaces and controls, as Kendra was mentioning, and I think Brian and Ryan will be able to talk to a little bit more as well. AC and ventilation, especially for common spaces. That's going to be very important to make sure that people feel the air is filtrated. We have plenty of outside air. So upgrades to some of those systems, I think, will be necessary and valuable. And places, locations that are in walkable areas in towns and communities. There was already a an interest in that, younger people and seniors. Now a lot of people are going to be nervous about getting on mass transportation for some time to come, probably. So with existing buildings, it may be trying to find some of these spaces, it may be utilizing technology to limit or to be able to sign up for spaces and know there's time in between for them to be cleaned and that no one will bother you when you're there. New construction, we've been putting in stairwells with windows in them, making them more appealing so people can use stairs. It's healthier as well as maybe safer than getting in an elevator. No, I think, and again, outdoor spaces and the internet, maybe making sure that there's ability for good connections in some of your outdoor spaces, whether on the rooftops or out in yards or whatever. And, you know, to the extent we get to a point where we're safe and feel that is safe and clean for kids and childcare, you know, that will be an important component for working at home and being able to have some of your remote meetings from your home or nearby your home. So.
And what are you seeing in terms of what clients are who are interested in remodeling projects are looking for?
Well, first of all, I deal mostly with single-family residential homes. So that being said, before COVID hit, I was basically doing kitchen and bath renovations and you know, siding and things like that. Once and great rooms and opening up a kitchen, knocking down walls. Once COVID did hit, noticing more of a trend in people wanting a gym or an office. They want to enclose their space, because traditionally the whole open concept was for entertainment and parties and family and holidays, and you really can't, well, for the immediate future, you really can't do that. So a lot of my customers were looking for ways to make themselves have a private office where they could work from home without interruptions, which my dog is interrupting me right now.
And are you noticing any other trends in terms of what folks are looking for, either pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Yeah, big call on decks and patios. And there's a shortage of decking material right now. And everyone wants to have some outdoor space that they could go to rather than be in public. I'm noticing a lot of that as well. And everything that Kendra and Gregg said is the same with us here in Westchester.
Doorbells, single family properties, multifamily properties. It's really, how do you manage that last mile delivery? So within multifamily, it's a real allocation of staff responsibilities and what locations there are. For multifamily, the leasing office is no longer the hangout location. And for small properties, they really don't have the time and the money to invest into a locker system like we would have. So they're looking for solutions. So for package management, really what we're seeing is that, you know, this surge of online shopping. So for multifamily, it's how do you manage the costs? How do you manage the volume? How do you manage health and safety? For residents, you know, it's really, there is a higher expectations in terms of how can I order something without having my package stolen? For single family homes, that's a huge issue right now. And when you go to look at who's responsible in the chain of ownership, it's still very vague. Predictions and models show that this is just going to continue through 2021. So as you're looking at single family and multifamily, how you manage packages is going to become a bigger priority for you to look at. So when you look at it with the COVID-19, the pandemic really has put people in a situation where they're redesigning opportunities so everything is touchless. And with so many people working from home and social distancing, social touchless logistics are going to become more important. There are conversations as we started this about how do you come through a door without touching it. With parcels and packages, the conflict is humans are still the best way to deliver packages. So really the issue is person-to-person contact much more than it is the virus coming off of a package. And then for the homeowner at home or multifamily, there are these package management products and solutions that we'll cover next. So for a homeowner or a small property, there's parcel boxes. And if you were to go onto Amazon.com or Home Depot or any of your favorite retailers, and you were to put in parcel boxes, you'd see thousands of options. I've gave you some names there. The advantages are very simple. Open up the box, put it in, and lock it. The disadvantages of it for small properties is that they're not secure. So if you have multiple people at the one property, it's possible that a package might be stolen. The other issue with parcel boxes is the carriers. A lot of carriers will say, oh, this is a nice place to put the parcel, and they'll put it on top of the box, but they won't put it in. You could go to an automated package lockers, and companies who offer these are like Package Concierge, Parcel Pending, Luxor One. So the advantages to that is it reduces that hands-on involvement. The disadvantages, again, would be this carrier use and adoption.
As Tim mentioned, LATCH is the first product system of its kind, combining hardware, software, and services to make multifamily buildings better for everyone. LATCH is a truly full building, curb to kitchen smart access solution. A little background on LATCH. LATCH is a market maturing real estate tech company for and by the real estate industry. Today, we've enjoyed immense growth. In the last year alone, we've shipped out a bit more than 100,000 devices, and we're featured on 1 out of every 10 new construction projects. Locally, we have just above 1,500 live buildings in the tri-state area that feature the LATCH system, including a plethora of new construction and retrofit projects in Westchester County and the Lower Hudson. But from the very inception of LATCH's history, we've developed a system that aims to address the needs of the 3 sort of main core constituent groups in multifamily buildings. So first and foremost, residents. Residents can share access, as you saw in the video, and control smart home devices all from one place. We've developed a system so that in addition to the LATCH app through smartphone devices like the iPhone and 15 or 16 Android devices, all users can additionally access using alternative means of entry. So key codes on the devices themselves, key cards, which are a lot like key fobs, or a simple mechanical key also work across our entire hardware suite, which we'll get to in a bit. Second constituent group for building partners, such as yourselves predominantly on this call, you can manage every device in the building or across an entire portfolio of buildings using a single platform, which is called the LATCH Manager. A LATCH Manager software platform is accessible from any web-enabled device. So what that means for you is that you're able to see what's going on across your entire portfolio from the road, in the palm of your hand. So really, iPad, your iPhone, a laptop, really any web-enabled device, you're able to see your entire portfolio and what's going on and provide temporary contactless access through the system. Next slide.